Evgeny Losif wasn't guilty of the collision. Now Gocha is the leader, and he had one wheel outside the white line. He even touches the ground. He is going as wide as possible, and the meter is getting closer. And now he goes as widely as possible to the internal clipping point. This touch and go 3 and transition not as close.
For the second portion of the heat, Anton did a better job leading compared to Alexander, but then Sasha retaliated with some serious pressure in the chase position. You'd think that Abramov would come out on top, or this would go to Artyom Shabanov, as per usual, was impeccable and super confident in the lead, while Pyotr Borodin, though he was somewhat sloppy and had to take a bunch of corrective action, was still able to follow very closely, which is a testament to his experience given the conditions out on the track. They did have a pretty hard collision after they crossed the line, though this wasn't what you'd call an uncontrolled finish, even though the Silvia was fishtailing. Since this happened outside of the scored area, nobody was punished, and Team Time Up didn't even call for a 5-minute timeout.
Was the first one in the history of Russian Drift Series to get 100 points out of 100, and it happened first here at this configuration. And this is his second run, because traditionally he gets 100 with a second attempt. But just take a look at this first transition. So sharp and clear and precise, and then immediately, without any extra swings, the car is sliding to this long sweeper. And then no corrections at all. And one more transition.
At N-ring circuit stages, Georgy Chevchan. This is the Brandmark Gocha style initiation, an immediate rotation in the opposite direction in order to pick the touch and go number 1. And this is the transition. Here are the stripes that determine the opposite one that are flashing under the wheels, and no margin left between the car and the white lines marking the edges of the track. And now this is the run-in and the Furidashi. Too much angle. You need to do the transition to get the touch and go 1 at the right time. And yes, there is one wheel in a no-go zone. One more transition and another clipping zone. Nose at 1, right along the white line. Not bad this time. And he reached the touch and go 2. You couldn't wish for more. And then he uses the entire white of the track. Come on, come on, come on, come on. And yes, this is the run. And the chaser squats before the gear shift. I wonder how much that angle was. He goes around the no-go zone. That is a very good fair play for Schwartz. Tandem run. Very broadly. Thank you, Griha, for that. He gets touch and go. And then he pulls a handbrake, presses the car into next touch and go, and he gets the OZ, the last transition, and at least the
attempt, of course, also representing fresh auto drift, going to the outside line, but staying within the white line, so staying within the track limits. Also here, really on the edge with his Toyota Supra. And now he's trying, of course, to get to the outside zone. Let's see, and he is on the outside. He is where he should be. Touch and go 1, touch and go 2, and he's on. Good lead there by Skorobogatov, and Gocha is really close. Skorobogatov out a little bit of track. Gocha playing safe at some points. Ooh, and almost with all wheels off track. Skorobogatov, he went there in the dirty zone where you don't want to be. Gocha still copying him with everything he can, and Gocha spins out.
Gocha performed admirably in the lead position, though he did make a few mistakes. Meanwhile, Anton's driving was very sloppy. He was jumping around, falling far behind, and so on. Dmitrienko didn't do well in the lead position either, missing the clipping points and making constant corrections. Gocha, Charlie's good in the lead, Ilya straightens out after the first touch and go, that is a 0. During the second run, Ilya is messing up his line, going out of bounds a lot. Meanwhile, Ang was closely following, albeit at a modest angle.
See what happens next. Gocha is doing a very good free dash following Evgeny Losif, and Losif is carefully drawing the line around touch and go 1. Then they transition, a small correction is made by Gocha, and Losif went a little too narrow, and he is correcting his line with a handbrake. And now they're very close.
For the second round, both pilots brought their A-game. Ilya was brilliant in the lead, while Gocha avoided making the same mistake as his opponent did. He didn't let him get away at the start, and stuck close the entire way, which earned him the last available top 16 spot. That question was resolved after Roman Tivadar and Maxim Grossman went at it one more time, and this one was decided during round 1. When in the final sector, Grossman's Supra seemingly slipped with 3 wheels going off, and fell behind Tivadar's Silvia. After that, Maxim did get a terrific lead run in, but Roman, even though he wasn't super aggressive, but he was active enough to the point where he was able to progress to the next stage of the competition. In their second run, things got even more interesting. It was pretty spectacular, if you can even use that word negatively. Vladislav, instead of going for a save run, stuck close to his opponent. Dennis took an inward dive in the TG2 zone, Vlad fell behind, attempted to catch up, hit the gas in the slowdown zone, and went flying off the tarmac. 0 points. The judges' ruling was based on Shubadiorov and Danila Skorobogatov. They're off to a decent start, both pilots are doing well in their respective positions, but in the final bend, Danila corrects quite significantly and gives his opponent a nudge, albeit both drivers are able to make it to the finish line. Their second run is similar to the first, Dan doing well in the lead, Vlad following pretty close behind. The most likely outcome is either a loss for Skorobogatov or at
100% standard, so let's see if he can do better. Good initiation there. He's filling out the smoke, filling out the zones. Coming up to outer zone 2, that was quite well, and outer zone 3 also filling it out nicely, going to touch and go 2. That's on spot, and wow, that was close to the wall, and he tries to get outside, and that's
Great, the first run, Arkady Tsarikratsev, and now here comes his second run. Fail crew dark side team. This is a very wide line for Arkady, and here he slides along the white line, and then without approaching this inner white line very carefully through the internal clip. Bravo, bravo, this is so beautiful. And here they go to the free dash zone, and this is the initiation, almost synchronized, but they're so close. Roman Tivadar is so close to the mirror. I think there was even a tiny contact with the 2 cars. Then the transition and an understeer. Roman has an understeer and he loses the angle. And yes, and he's outside the track. Roman Tivadar loses all his force.
Read Georgy Chivchan's acceleration, falling slightly behind, driving through the first and second sector further behind than he should have been, only catching up to his opponent on the second half of the track. Meanwhile, not much to criticize Gocha for in the lead. The reason being that, well, we should say that the judges were in stark opposition with each other on the matter. After the event, Davidian stood by his decision to favor Tivadar, while Safanov and Dolgich even said that they considered Grossman to have the upper hand. In terms of line, Roman obviously has the advantage, 28 versus 26 points. When it came to chasing, 2 of the judges were impressed by Grossman's transitions, especially around touch and go 6. Tivadar was closer and did better.
Configuration was different, and this year it will be the same and the final event of the year. And now Timofey Dobrovolsky, once again, he represents Forward Auto team, and now he is making the first transition. This time it looks a little bit sharper, and now Timofey Dobrovolsky is using the entire whites of the track, and this will be also evaluated, encompassed in this
stage when he lost to his teammate Timofey Dobrovolsky. And now look what he does. This is a very nice initiation, then a transition, a little stabilization using handbrake on the way to touch and go, and I think that no sharp transition is required. Roman Tivadar is doing everything correctly, carefully picking one clipping point after another, and Silvia S15 sticks to the white line, and he is running in full throttle, Furidashi, and yes, this is the first clip. Then to the transition very sharply, he turns around and then very sharply, extremely sharp transition before the OZ1, but there one wheel was outside the white line. This is -2 already, and here he goes very widely, but we know that you're allowed to do that in this part, and then finally he with it now. Let's see what Damir Yatulen can show. 89 points was his first. That was a counter shift. That was crazy. He touched the no-go zone. Thankfully he didn't go inside it as he did in the previous run. Now he gets the first outside, touch and go taken, then another one, and he slides along the edge. Bravo! He slows down with the angle and he picks the inside zone. Then touch and go 4, check, almost perfect. And